So, welcome everybody. Happy Wednesday. My thought for you that occurred to me, since today is a day where many of us are um, without power and without our normal means of, kind of distracting ourselves with the normal means of running our lives. And it's kind of fun when that happens, right? That we were already in a really fun situation of not having things be normal, and now there's just another level of how much can you do without? How much can you do without? And that's very much a yoga practice, right? Is how much can you get down to the basis of what you really need to form a state of happiness or a state of contentment, and what isn't necessary for those things, right? What are you actually using as your source of energy for your life, right? So what really runs you, not what you reach for to be the power or the direction of your life. So the energy flow that we call that is Kundalini, right? So that's what I was thinking today, is that we would have a little bit of a focus on that idea of the energy that is deeply seated in you already, that can be drawn upon at any moment, especially in times of adversity, to be able to rise, right? So when all other power sources go out, you always have that one to tap into, right? So the Kundalini energy is said to be coiled in almost like a battery state or a resting state around the base of the spine. And then when it starts to awaken, it says it's coiled like a snake, and it starts to rise up the spine and to move through the chakras and all the way up through the crown until it unites with the universal energy. And then suddenly we become a full conduit to that energy, right? So the Kundalini is your personal connection, your personal flow of energy that rises up to meet that collective consciousness, or the collective divine energy, whatever word you want for it. So that's the energy that we're reaching for, right? Is what rises in you when the external things start to be depleted or fall away, when they get pulled away, is what rises up in you. So comfortable seat if you're not there already. Let the eyes close. What I find interesting is that often we do yoga practices with the intention of getting that Kundalini energy to ignite, or to get it to move, to get it to rise on its own. So it's like trying to poke that snake with a stick, right? How do I get it to move? And we often think that it's only through purification, or it's only through kind of doing practices that are going to raise our vibration that we get that energy to move. But it's also said that in times of great adversity, the Kundalini can spontaneously awaken, right? That in your moments where you think that you have nothing to rely on, the Kundalini can spontaneously come alive in a way that is felt. This energy is with you 100% of the time. The question is, do you feel united with it? Do you feel connected to it? So bring your breath deep into the space of your pelvis. For a moment, can you bring yourself into a space where, even if everything else is removed, your ability to act in the world is always your own? So there's a sense of empowerment that comes from the lower body, a sense of not being able to be destroyed. The Kundalini is forever reforming itself. So of all the other methods of action in your life disappear, your ability to act in your own life, constant. Breathe deep. One more breath deeply in, that every action that you take from the deepest part of you is a reaffirmation. You have the ability to move in the world. You have the ability to move in your life. No matter what's taken away, that never is. Bring hands to heart center, please. We'll open with the sound of Om. Deep breath in. Let the eyes float open. Nice, you guys. You can release your hands, please. And just take your hands to your knees, your thighs, and start to cat-cow your spines. Seated cat-cow. Good. And again, finding where you are allowing your pelvis to rock forward and back on that motion, and that you're finding the full rounding of your spine. So as you round backwards especially, I want you to pull up and back through your back rib cage, that full turtling action. So it's like you're pulling your ribs up away from your pelvis, but you're hollowing the whole front of the body. Good. And you're lifting as long as you can on the inhale, spreading the chest wide. Nice. Good, you guys. Couple more breaths, just finding the spine. Again, what it's always said is that if we can awaken the spine, if we can clear stagnation from the spine itself, is that the Kundalini energy can more naturally just fill in that space, right? It rises spontaneously, kind of like, not osmosis, but that pressure differential will pull that energy up when there's nothing standing in its way. So all the things that you put in your own way of why I can't move forward in my life, why I can't do this, why I can't do that, why this can't possibly happen. You let those thoughts shift to the side so that there's this space for whatever solutions, whatever needs to rise, whatever actions can be taken, fills in that space. Good. Come back to neutral spine, please. Beautiful. Just walk yourself straight ahead. So still sitting cross-legged, walk your hands forward. Good. And again, rounding up into that low back space again. So pulling up, rounding into your back rib cage, rounding even below your belly button. So find that fullness of your sacrum. Keep your sit bones pressing down and wide. It's like you're pushing your butt back in space. And then once you've found that roundness, I want you to drop your heart towards the floor. Good. So you're not holding yourself up from your ribs anymore, but you're keeping that hollowness in your belly. So let your chest go wide. Let your front chest and belly move towards the floor, but keep that low navel pressing up towards your spine. Good. One more breath, drop into it. And then walk yourself back up. Please roll forward to hands and knees. Good. You can bring the knees together. Please drop your hips down to your heels. Reach your hands back to find your ankles. Good. So you're sitting on your heels. Hands come back to hold your ankles. There could be a little separation between your feet. That's fine. Bring your forehead to the floor. So maybe forehead to the floor first before you reach back for your feet. Good. And then you're coming into hare pose. So just as you are inhaling, you're lifting your hips up off of your heels, rounding your back. So the hands can hold the ankles or just rest alongside you if holding the ankles doesn't quite work. But you're coming up to the crown of your head and you're rounding your back like crazy. And then you're rolling your hips back down to your heels, releasing that. Good. Do that a couple more times so that you're inhaling, rolling up onto the crown of your head, lifting your hips, rounding into your back. So you never have to come sitting up. You just keep your forehead on the floor. And then releasing the hips back down. Good. And rising up again, hollowing the space of the lowest part of your belly so that the back of your sacrum gets a little bit more full. Good. And then release it down one more time, rise up. Good. So the throat is one of the places. It says that there are 3 places that actually are the circuit breakers, or the points that kind of slow the Kundalini energy down. Bring your hips back down to your heels. Pause for a moment, either keeping the hands where they are or bringing them into a little pillow under your head, resting under your forehead, another option. There's the knots, they say, the grunties, that actually are safety measures, it said, quote unquote, safety measures. So the Kundalini doesn't awaken too fast. Doesn't pull us away from what we're used to too fast. And one of those places is at the third eye. Another one is at the throat. And down at the base of the spine. Good. One more breath into the back of the heart. Nice. And then release, walking yourself up to hands and knees. I think I said it's in the throat. It's not actually the throat, it's the heart. Sorry. Root, heart, and third eye. Spread the fingers wide, please. Tuck your toes, lift your hips, come into downward facing dog. Good. Pedal your feet, move your hips from side to side. Good. As the knees bend, it's a softening of the thigh creases. It's a recognition of how the thigh fits into the hip socket. Good. So you're not just moving your legs, but you're moving your pelvis. You're moving your spine. Nice. That energy of the action of my life moves through my legs, moves through my arms, and they're extensions of my spine, extensions of my core self. Let your heels come down towards the floor. Good. So find your steadiness. Nice. And then right foot steps forward between the hands, please. Lunge. Good. Squeeze the feet towards each other. Inhale the arms up to the sky. High lunge. Good. Nice, you guys. Take your arms out wide, cactus arms. Keep that back thigh lifted. Keep your low belly drawing in and up. Little twist to your right, please. So twisting towards that front leg. Nice. And then bring the left hand to the outer right knee. Right hand comes to your lower back, or you can stretch it out straight behind you. But if the hand is at your back, you have the chance to kind of lift up through your low belly, push your sacrum back into your hand. So round into your back body again. Good. And then lift your shoulders a little higher, twist a little bit more to the right, but push that right knee outward into your hand. That's it. Good. One more breath, just finding the openness of your rib cage. And then back to center. Inhale the arms up to the sky. Good. Exhale, hands down to the floor, please. Nice. Drop the back knee. Send your left hip back on top of the left knee. Right leg comes forward to straight Ardha Hanumanasana. Come up on the heel. Good. Both hands come inside your front foot. Yeah. So walk your hands just a little bit towards that upper left-hand corner of your mat. Good. Turn your right toes in a lot. So turn that right butt cheek wide. Good. And so your toes turn in, your right butt cheek goes wide. You got it. And then scoop into your low belly. Again, I want you to fill in that space of your back sacrum. Fill in the space at the back of your pelvis. Good. And now with that scoop, you're going to start to push your inner thighs wide. They're already pushing wide, but start to rotate that right butt cheek back and in so that your toes start to face up towards the ceiling. Good. So it's a subtle action. That's it. Keep pushing your inner thighs wide. Pull that right thigh crease up and back. Nice. And then let yourself drop down a little deeper, maybe onto your forearms. Good. Or stay where you are. Again, it's your second pose of the practice, right? Good. Nice, you guys. Walk yourself back in, please. All the way back in. Drag that heel back so you come back to a lunge, still with the right foot forward. Lift the back knee up. Drop the left heel so that your baby toe parallels the back of your mat. So you're coming into warrior two with the right foot forward. Cartwheel the arms up to the sky. Squeeze your feet towards each other. Good. Turn your palms to face forward, so thumbs up towards the ceiling. Palms are going to face straight ahead. Bring your right hand back to meet your left, so your front hand back to meet your left, crossing over your chest. Good. So it's like you're trying to clap your right hand to your left in front of your chest. That's it. Turning your ribs to the left towards the back of your mat, all the way back. That's it. Yep, you guys are doing it right. Good. I just want you to turn your ribs and then move your right knee wider to the right. Yeah. Good. But your ribs are still reaching to the left. Beautiful. Now take the right arm back forward again towards the top of your mat without letting the ribs fall forward. Nice job. And then right forearm comes on top of right thigh. Left arm comes over the ear, still with your left rib cage spinning up towards the ceiling. I want you to maintain that rotation. Draw the front of the rib cage back and in. Send your right butt cheek under and push the inner thigh of your left leg up and back. Nice, you guys. Good. Squeeze your feet towards each other. Beautiful. Keep the left arm where it is. Take your right arm off of your thigh and just stretch it out in front of you so your arms are crisscrossed. That's right. So right arm extends straight out from the chest. Left arm is over the ear. Pull, pull, pull. Squeeze your feet. Yeah. And then come all the way back. Warrior two. Arms wide. Deep breath in. Good. Straighten the back. Straighten the front thigh. Drop the left hand down the back leg. Right arm reaches up and back. Good. Still squeeze your feet towards each other. Good. Lift up through that right thigh. Reach up through that right hip point. Nice. And then come all the way back up to center, please. Good. Arms wide. Bend that right knee again. Back to warrior two. Stretch your arms back behind you. Interlace your fingers at the low spine. Good. Turn your ribs towards the front of your mat. Good. And then you're going to bow inside your front knee. Take your arms up and over, but keep that back leg in warrior two. Good, so your back heel stays flat. And try to bring that left rib cage forward a little more. Pull that right low belly up. Good, squeeze your feet towards each other. Nice, right butt cheek still wraps under. Beautiful. Nice, you guys. Power of your legs, super important. Release the hands down to the floor, really good. Spin that back heel up, please. Step back, downward facing dog. Yeah. Pedal your feet, move your hips from side to side. Good. The power to act combined with there not being a compulsion to act. What we call being really aware of yourself. Good. Come to steadiness, please. Come to stillness, both heels reaching for the floor. Nice. Left foot steps forward between the hands. Good. Inhale the arms up to the sky, high lunge, squeezing the feet towards each other. That's a big one, right? If you come into high lunge, so bring your hands back down to the floor for a second. If you come into high lunge without that squeezing, then you have to do all of this adjusting for balance, right? So I want you to squeeze your feet towards each other before you go anywhere with your hands. Front knee over your front ankle. Wrap that left butt cheek under. Send your right inner thigh back and up. That's your back inner thigh. Do all of that first, then take your arms up to the sky. Good. Less wobbling, right? Nice. Arms out wide, cactus arms. Good. Twisting to your right, towards the front leg. Sorry, to your left, towards the front leg. I have to say it more than one way. Good. And then your right hand is going to reach for your outer left knee. Left hand comes to your lower back, or you can extend it back behind you. But if you have your hand at your lower back, so just the twist at first, then you have a kind of really solid place to curl into your low belly, push your sacrum back into your hand, and then push your left knee wider into the hand that's holding it. Squeeze your feet towards each other. Move your ribs. Good, but the navel stays drawn in and up. So you have this constant feeling of I'm drawing the energy up my spine from my pelvis. Good, come back to center, please. Arms to the sky. I know, it's just a twisting lunge. It shouldn't feel so difficult. Release the hands down to the floor. Drop your back knee. Move that right hip back on top of the knee. Wiggle your left leg forward to straight. Come up on the heel, Ardha Hanumanasana. So your pelvis here should be level. Right and left hip should be in the same line with each other. If they're not to begin, adjust so that they are. Start with a pelvis that is in line with itself. Then take both hands to the inside of the front foot. So you're walking to the upper right-hand corner of your mat. Good, and then turn your left toes in, rotate the thigh in, so your butt cheek is gonna go out wide. Your thigh is gonna rotate back and wide, your butt's gonna rotate back and wide. If you go too far, your right hip is gonna come off of your knee as well. So don't let your right hip come out of alignment with your knee, but rotate that left heel or that left foot in. There you go, scoop your belly. Get full in the back of your sacrum. Push your inner thighs, both inner thighs, wide away from each other. Good. Now you're using the energy of that left leg. Start to wrap that left butt cheek under, pull the thigh crease back so it stays in line with the right one. Let your toes come back up towards center, but keep that feeling of pushing your inner thighs wide. Try and keep your butt wide. Good. And maybe you're even concentrating on tilting the pelvis slightly forward, the front of the pelvis forward. Good. Nice, you guys. And then drop yourself a little deeper. Maybe just letting the elbows bend if you are holding yourself with really straight arms. Maybe coming all the way down to your forearms if that's possible. Maybe just letting your mind relax, your jaw relax. Good. Walk yourself back in. Nice, you guys. Pull that heel back so you come back to a lunge. So your left foot comes to flat. Lift your back knee up. And then drop the right heel so that the baby toe parallels the back of your mat. So your legs are coming into warrior two. Again, squeeze your feet towards each other. Come into warrior two with no wiggly adjustments necessary. Good. Nice. Very few wiggly adjustments. Beautiful, you guys. Turn your thumbs to face up again, palms forward. Reach your front hand back to reach your back hand. So you're turning your ribs to the right. So I want you to really exaggerate that you're turning your ribs. And then your left knee moves wider to the left. So find that. Good. And then keep that rotation on your ribs, but let your left hand come forward again. Let your gaze come forward again, but keep pulling your right rib cage wide to the right. Good. And then left forearm comes onto front thigh, right arm comes over the ear. Don't let your ribs start to twist forward again. Keep them twisted open. Right rib cage goes up and back, up and back. Good, and then just watch that you don't let your left shoulder start to fall forward and get tight because it's what's holding you. So Alice, move your left shoulder back and wide. Good, Lisa, I think you fixed it. Nice, you guys. Squeeze your feet towards each other. Keep that right arm where it is over the ear. Lift the left arm up off of your thigh, still in side angle. Just extend that arm straight out from the chest. So you're twisting the ribs. Extend from the heart center. Nice. And then bring yourself back up to warrior two, arms wide. Beautiful. Straighten the front thigh. Right arm drops down the back thigh. Left palm spins up and back. Reach. So you're pulling that left hip point up off of the thigh, but you're still squeezing your feet towards each other so that there's a feeling of sucking the thigh bone up into the hip socket. Good. And then bring yourself back up, arms wide, letter T. Keep that feeling of lift, that you're not settling back into your legs, but you're staying lifted. Bend your left knee again, come back into warrior two. And then take the hands back behind you, interlace your fingers at the low spine, twist the ribs forward, and then bow inside your front thigh. Keep that back heel where it is. So your right inner thigh is still pulling up and back. Good. The tendency is going to be to push your left butt cheek out to the left. Pull it in. Yes. And then you're turning that right rib cage down a little faster so that you're creating that real twist from the base of your trunk. Good. One more breath. And then release the hands down to the floor, please. Nice. Lift that back knee. Step back downward facing dog. Good. Pedal your feet. Move your hips from side to side. The concept that you can move stagnation. You don't have to have a clear sense of where it all has to go, but you can move stagnation where you've gotten caught up in your thinking, where you've gotten caught up in your posture, where you've gotten caught up in your movement that has no purpose. Good. Come to stillness. You don't have to know what should be there. The only practice is to make space. Good. Slide forward to plank pose, upward push-up. Good. Squeeze your feet towards your hands towards your feet. So it's going to feel like your butt wants to pop up a little bit. Good. And then draw that low edge of your belly in. Lift your hip points forward and up. So it's like you're trying to drag your tail towards your heels while you lift the front of your pelvis up. Yeah, towards your ribs. Good. Squeeze your hands and your feet towards each other. I know. One more breath. Chest forward. Good. And then lower down slow. Nice, you guys. All the way down to your belly. Beautiful. Point the toes back behind you. Rise up, cobra. Lift head, neck, and chest. Good. Press into your feet. And then release back down to your forehead, please. So stay where you are with your hands. Just come onto your fingertips. Good. And for some of you, also walk your hands back in space so that you come to a true 90 degrees so that your elbow is right on top of your wrist. There's a straight line from your elbow down to your wrist. So Crystal, move your, so Carolina, you're going wide with your hands. I want your hands to stay in, but move your hands back. Yep, there you go. So Crystal, move your hands back. Harriet, looks like you're okay. Elisa, looks like you're okay. Sarah looks okay. Alice looks okay. Okay, good. So now on your fingertips with your hands a little further back, start to roll those arm bones up and wide. Pull forward before you even leave the floor. Drag your chest forward so that the space between your pelvis and your ribs gets longer. And then rise up into your cobra. Pull your chest forward between your arms. Good. Hands drag back. Nice. Keep the elbows generally hugging in. Don't let them go too wide. Good. And then release. Nice job, you guys. Stretch your arms straight ahead of you. Yep, straight ahead. You're going to alternate. Right leg and left arm is going to lift at the same time. So as you inhale, lift the right leg and the left arm like they are connected to each other. So not in isolation, but you're reaching. And then release them down. And then the next breath is left arm, left leg and right arm. Or whatever I didn't say, and then release and switch the other side, lifting from the top of your thigh. So I don't want your knee to bend at all. I want it to be all from that extension through the inner thigh and the lift from the top of your thigh. Don't let your pelvis rock from side to side. Good. With this one, I want you to stay very level with the floor, but you're reaching that cross action. Good. So you're not rolling from side to side. You're alternating one leg, opposite arm, and then the other leg and its opposite arm. And try to coordinate. Have your arm go as high as your leg does. If that means that you have to make a choice and your leg can't go as high to stay with the height that your arm can do, that's what I want you to do. Is that you're looking for the coordination of that cross spine from my shoulder to my hip. What is happening? Good. Is my lower back or my legs so much stronger than my upper body that I don't know how to equalize them? It's the energy of the heart. How do I equalize the energies in my life? How do I find harmony between them? Where's the give and take? Good. Bring everything back down to the floor. Keep your feet right where they are. Just lift head, neck, and chest. Float your arms up. Yep, feet on the floor. Good. Draw in that low belly. Pretend there's a rope in front of you. Hold your hands like this and climb. Right hand above left, left hand above right. Climb, 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 climb. Don't put your ribs down. Keep your feet on the floor. Try not to clench your butt. Climb. Use your back. Navel in. Some of you are swimming forward. I want you to climb upward. That's it. Yes, there you go, Crystal. Good, Harriet. I know. It's not how you wanted to do it. Climb, climb, climb. Good. And then deep breath, lift everything. Pull those arms out wide to cactus arms. Yes. And then release. Rest on your belly, forehead to the floor. Make a pillow with your hands or stretch the arms back. Good. If your lower back was feeling unhappy with that, you can separate your feet. You can wiggle your hips from side to side. Good. And the Kundalini energy is that this is your flow of spiritual awareness. It's inherent in you. But how we connect to it, the reason why the granthis, those knots, exist where they do, is that they're fundamental places where if we don't understand how that energy is working through us, is we can be overwhelmed because we think it's not us. Or we can be completely underwhelmed because we think that that can't possibly be us. So where is your strength? Where does that energy already feel familiar? Is it at the base of your spine? Is it at the heart? Is it at the space of your third eye? Is it nowhere recognizable? It doesn't have to be those three places, but those are the ones where we tend to get a feeling that it can't go further because we don't understand something. One more deep breath into your full body. Good. And then walk the hands back, please. Yep. Press your thighs down, bend your knees, kick your heels in towards your butt. Hands back alongside your ribs like cobra. Good. Palms can be flat. Rooting down, root your thighs down. Good. And then feel that lift of the front of your pelvis. So it's not that you're trying to flatten the front of your pelvis to the floor, but you are trying to lift it up towards your ribs, which means you're going to hollow your ribs in, and it's going to help to lengthen your tail. Keep your thighs rooted down. Lift up head, neck, and chest into that cobra position with your heels squeezing in towards your butt. Front of your pelvis lifts up, tail lengthens. So you're not arching into your lower back. You're not pushing the hips forward, but you're lifting. Lower edge or top edge of your pelvis towards your lower edge of your ribs. One more breath, back of the head reaches for your heels. Your knees should be on the floor, just heels squeezing in. Good. And then release. Nice, you guys. Press back up to hands and knees. Good. Come back to child's pose for a moment. When we talk about any area that is energetic or like a chakra, is we often only experience it, or we tend to only experience it from the front portion of ourselves. So where does the Kundalini reside? Base of the spine, in your pelvis. And where do you experience it? If you only pay attention to the front of your pelvis, you're going to completely miss that the energy resides also in the back body. And that if there's restriction, stagnation, stuckness in your back body, that's going to restrict the flow of that energy as potently or more than what's happening in the front. So whole pelvis, whole heart center, whole space of your mind. Not just one place that the stagnation can exist, it's the entire reality of that place. Good. Walk your hands back in, come back up to hands and knees. Let's do this. Bring your hands up to your hips, please. Carolina, you can turn forward if you want. Coming into gate pose, take your right leg out wide to the right. Good. Heel in line with your left knee. Good. Make sure that your left hip stays on top of the knee, so it's not coming off of that straight line. You want there to be a neutral line there. Good. And then stretch your arms out wide, letter T. Take the right arm down the right leg, please. Left arm comes over the ear. Again, stretching through the side body, lifting that left hip point up a little higher, so you're lengthening from your pelvis. Good. Nice, you guys. And then bring yourself back up to center, please. Good, reach out and down the other way, so your left hand comes out and down to the floor or a block. Right arm can come to the sky. You can even take that arm over the ear if that feels better. Good, and again, I want you to press into the baby toe edge of that right foot so that you have that full, again, reaching through the side of your pelvis, through the side of your thigh. Yeah. Good, and then bring it back up to center, please. And then bring both hands to the floor in front of you, walking your hands forward into that awkward one-legged dog where you're sending your groins way back. So I want you to really work that feeling that you're rolling the inner thighs back and in. And maybe you can feel like you're lifting your left hip point a little higher to try and balance the back edge of your pelvis. So that right side has to get softer, softer, softer. Good. Nice. One more breath. Inner thighs rolling back. So the front edge of the pelvis is tilting forward and your tail is flaring up and wide. And then walk your hands back underneath your shoulders, please. So hands underneath the shoulders. Good. Plant your left hand, please. No, I want it the other way. Right hand to the floor. Take your left arm up to the sky. Twist. Yep. Good. I know it's the awkward twist. We're going to do both sides, but I wanted to do awkward first. Good. And then release and switch. Take your left hand down. Bring your right arm up. So you're turning towards the extended leg. Good. Still send your groins back. That's it. Good. And then release that hand down to the floor. Welcome back, Mark. Good. And then slowly come on back up to hands and knees to switch sides. Good. So taking the left leg out wide to the left, heel in line with the right knee. Good. Arms come out wide. Good. Side body stretch, reaching left hand down the left leg, right arm comes over the ear. Yeah, and again, lifting through that outer edge of your hips. You're pulling that hip up, 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 up. Nice. And then bring it back up to center, please. Take it the other way. So the right hand comes out and down to the floor or a block. Left arm comes over the ear, again, reaching long. Interested in the length of your side body here, that you can actually pull the pelvis and the ribs away from each other. Good. Then bring yourself all the way back up to center again. Nice job. Bring the hands down to the floor. Walk yourself straight ahead. And again, those groins go back and in. And if you can, that right hip is going to lift a little higher. Right low belly lifts a little higher to try and find that equilibrium at the back of your pelvis. Good. Nice. So it's sort of fun when you're, reading about Kundalini or you're hearing about it and you want to read all the descriptions of what it's going to feel like and how good it's going to be and how great it's going to be. And I really want that. Fire yourself up. But the practice itself is just making space. That you will know what your Kundalini feels like when it is awake. When you feel united with it, when you're clear that that is you. Not some mysterious energy that exists outside of you. It's you. But it has to be integrated into the way that you act in the world, in the way that you view the world. Walk your hands back into your shoulders. Good. So the awkward way first, which I believe is your right hand down, left arm up. Oh, that's the easy one. It doesn't matter. Right hand down, left arm up. Good, just open. Nice. Try and keep your pelvis as level as you can. So you're twisting through your ribs, but not your pelvis. Good, go the other way. Left hand down, right arm up. The point is to feel the twist in both directions, is that there's a way of experiencing the openness of your trunk, even if it is awkward to maintain the stability of your pelvis. Try and maintain the stability of your pelvis. Release that hand back down to the floor. Nice job. Unwind, come back to hands and knees. Carolina, you could probably turn back to the side. Downward facing dog. Good. Nice, you guys. Take the right leg up and back behind you, down dog split. Bend the knee, kick your heel in towards your butt, keep your knee pointing down. Good, move your heel slightly wider, lift that left low belly a little higher and wider, so your right knee, your right hip is going a little bit, dropping in space. And then squeeze that heel in, lift that thigh a little higher, but pull into your low belly, like you're still trying to drop your tail towards your right heel, sorry, your left heel, and then lift that thigh again. And then draw your heart forward and up, like you're gonna take the back of your head again to your heel. Good. Pull those arms up and into the shoulder socket. Lift that thigh. Yeah. Like you're arching by extending your spine, but you're not dropping into the ribs or the pelvis. Awesome. Release the head, extend your legs straight back behind you. Beautiful. Step that foot forward between the hands. Good. Walk both hands inside the front foot. Come to the center of your mat. Turn your toes. Wide-legged forward fold. Prasarita Padottanasana. Good. I don't care how you get there. Find your way there. Good. Lift and spread your toes, please. Yeah. Pull the inner thighs wide apart. Nice. And then drop the heart. Good. Hold opposite elbows for a moment so that you're really using the support of your legs. Let your weight roll forward towards the balls of your feet a little bit more. Good. And then scoop your belly, push your butt up towards the sky. Let your shoulders sway from side to side. So actively move yourself from side to side. Good. With no intention of finding a full elaborate twist, but move yourself like a pendulum from side to side. Again, let gravity pull the weight of the head, the weight of the ribs, the weight of the shoulders, so that you're decompressing the spine. Navel stays in, but you're moving from side to side. Good. Now, some of you are like a nice, slow, contemplative pendulum, and some of you are like a wrecking ball, moving fast from side to side. Good. Come back to stillness, please. Release your hands down to the floor. Good. Bring your hands to your hips. Come all the way up to stand. Good. Turn your toes out, both feet to 45 degrees. If your legs are very, very wide, you need to heel toe your feet in a little bit. That's okay. Then bend your knees, come into high squat. The goddess pose. Good. So your knees, again, should be in a straight line over your ankles. And ideally, again, when I say ideally, this is just where the pose says you can go, that your thighs are parallel to the floor. So maybe play with how wide do I have to go with my feet to make those ankles work. And then also notice how much you can lift the front of your pelvis up off of your thighs. That's it. And then you're dropping your tail. Nice. And then stretch your arms out wide. Good. Bend your elbows into cactus arms for a moment and feel like your arms are as powerful here as your legs. Good. So Mark, just lift your belly up so there's less of an arch in your lower back. Bring your elbows slightly forward. Lift your chest. There you go. Good, you guys. Now stretch the arms up alongside your ears. Interlace your fingers. Point your fingers to the sky. Kali Mudra. Come up on the balls of your feet. Lift your heels. And drop your thighs wider. Yes, squeeze and lift pelvic floor. So below your belly button, like an elevator, pulls up to your navel, and then from your navel pulls up. Draw those low ribs in, and then your chest lifts and opens and pull through the crown of your head, straight up through those extended fingers. Pull up, and the thighs go wide. Nice, heels back to the floor. Good job, straighten the legs, please. Good, let the toes turn forward if you'd like, or they can stay turned out. Drop the right arm down the right thigh, reach the left arm over the ear, side stretch. So I say the feet can do what they want here because for some people that parallel position is not going to feel very natural in this stretch. Come back up to center, please. Go the other way, dropping the left arm down. The left leg, right arm comes up and over. Good. Keep your ribs open. Thighs rolling back and wide. Good. Come back up to center, please. Nice job. Good. Turn your right toes forward towards the top of your mat. Turn your left toes in just a little bit. Good. Cartwheel the arms down to the floor. Yeah, you got it. Both hands come inside the front foot. Spin your back heel up. Drop the back knee. Yep. Come on down to your elbows. Walk towards that upper left-hand corner of your mat. Good. And dare I say rest, right? The other power sources of your life are not accessible, right? So much of our practice is just learning to rely on ourselves. When something is not there the way that it used to be, the way that you want it to be, to not feel like you are left with nothing, but that you are able to rely on an inner source of strength, inner source of resilience, inner source to be able to see what's in front of you, not just on its surface. You know where your power comes from. You're not worried about it disappearing. And the Kundalini cannot be exhausted, cannot be extinguished. It can be forgotten. But this is you, the strongest part of you, and we ignore it. It sits in that battery, and we don't call on it. One more breath. Go ahead and walk yourself back in, please. Inhale the arms up to the sky, back knee stays on the floor, Anjaneyasana. Good. Yeah, squeeze that front heel and the back knee towards each other. Try and drop that right hip in space. Lift your left hip, push it wide. So for a second, take your left hand to your outer left hip. Good. Push your left hip wide into your hand. Aha. Yeah. Now scoop that right butt cheek under, scoop your belly in, send yourself deeper into that lunge, but keep pushing your left hip wide into your hand. Thank you. Now bring your hands together at your heart center. Good. Prayer twist. Left elbow to the outside of your right knee. Keep pushing those inner thighs wide. Don't let that right butt cheek hike up. Keep your left hip pushing wide. So Sarah, don't drop that left hip. Push it wide. Wider. There you go. Keep pushing it wide. I don't care if it ruins your twist. Good. Nice, you guys. Optional here if you feel pretty stable. Tuck your back toes, lift your back knee. Come into a higher prayer twisting lunge. Push that left hip wide. Right knee pushes wide in the opposite direction. Sarah, left hip, push it wide. Good. Awesome, you guys. Inhale the arms up to the sky, high lunge. Or if your knee is on the floor, keep it there. Just arms back to the sky. And then release the hands down. Good job. Step back, downward facing dog. Whee. Good. Vinyasa if you'd like, child's pose if you prefer. If you're doing the vinyasa, sliding forward to plank, lowering down to your belly, finding your back bend. Remembering that it is a feeling of expanding from the back of your heart forward. The pulling forward that creates cobra. Good. And then downward facing dog. Pulling forward, not a pushing forward. Nice. Left leg comes up and back, down dog split. Forgot where I was for a second. Bend your knees, take your heel in towards your butt, knee points straight down. So move your heel slightly towards the outer edge of your left hip. Right hip is gonna rise up from your low belly, so your left hip is gonna drop in space, make your pelvis as level as you can feel. Good. And then you're squeezing that heel in, activate your thigh. Then start to push that heel back up towards the ceiling, draw into that low belly, so you're lifting your pelvic points towards your low ribs, and then lift your upper chest forward without dropping your ribs. And find that scorpion position. So the back of your heart lifts up, back of your head lifts up, but the whole time you're trying to pull your ribs in at the same time that you're trying to pull your chest forward and up, arms into the socket. Good. Squeeze that thigh in, push up through the heel. Yeah, it should feel like that strong push and pull. Good. Release the head, extend the leg back, please, and then step the left foot between the hands, lunge. Nice. Drop, both hands inside the front foot, walk to your right. Come to that wide-legged stance, toes facing straight ahead. And a deep bow. Same thing, hold opposite elbows. Weight towards the front edge of your feet so your pelvis moves forward, no locking your knees. Sway like a pendulum or an elephant's trunk, whichever you like better. But I want you to move almost as though you're trying to take your belly over each thigh. So each swing, it's not just where is my weight comfortably moving to, but can I use my core to move my belly over each thigh? Good. And again, don't move so fast that you're moving your hips from side to side. Don't move so fast that your knees are buckling on one side. I want you to stay stable in your legs and swing your swing your torso. Good. The point of this practice is to move stagnation, to make space. And what's already in us will automatically take up that space if there's nothing in the way. Dissolving of the grunties, those knots, is where do I hold myself back from myself? Is it in my identity? Is it in my ability to harmonize different forces in my life? Is it in my ability to see what's true, what's real? Release the hands down to the floor, hang for a moment. Good. And then hands come back to your hips, come all the way up to stand. That might have felt like it was a lot of work, either for your lower back or your legs or all of the above. And all you did was stand in a wide-legged stance and swing, right? But you did it from this core of yourself, not from I'm using my hands to do it for me. I'm not using my legs to do it all for me. Good. Heel toe your feet a little closer if you need. Separate or turn out the toes. Bend your knees. Come back to that high squat. Good. And then bring the arms out wide. Back to cactus arms, bend the elbows so they mirror the legs and feel as powerful in your arms as you feel in your legs. So your elbows are bent, and I want you to feel that you are dragging the tips of the elbows down to lift your chest up. Good. Maybe even turn your palms up towards the ceiling and push up into your palms as you drag the elbows down. So it's like you're holding up the sky. You're doing a reverse push-up. So the elbows drag down, not lower than your armpits. Your hands push up. Your thighs are wide, but your feet squeeze together and your low belly pulls up, up, up. Good. Harmonizing of opposites here. One more breath. Let yourself go low. Lift your chest high. Nice. And then come all the way up to stand. Good. Stretch the arms out wide. Turn your left toes forward towards the top of your mat. Turn the right toes in. Cartwheel the arms down to the floor. Good. Then spin the back heel up. Drop the knee. Both hands inside the front foot. Walk to the upper right-hand corner of your mat and rest. You can be on forearms, on blocks, on fingertips. But drop deeper into your pelvis. Good. When the Kundalini is fully awakened, it says that as it rises up, it overtakes our perception, it overtakes our sense of reality so that there is no more of that feeling of duality, confusion. It clarifies everything. And on some deep level, it said that that's what we try to avoid, is the full clarity would completely destroy the idea of ourself that we've built from our own ego, from our own perceptions. It might destroy that. So where is it that you hide yourself from yourself? Where is it that you maybe like to keep problems around you because you're so used to having those problems to deal with? What's your favorite excuse for not being your best self? Your favorite excuse for not being happy? Not saying you have to throw them out, but that Kundalini energy says as long as that stands in the way, you might not feel that innate power of yourself. You might feel like there's always something in the world standing in your way. One more breath. And walk yourself back up, please. Good. Still in Anjaneyasana. Inhale the arms up to the sky. Again, if you need a blanket underneath the back knee, make sure you have it. Good. And then I want your right hand to the outside of your right hip for a moment. Push that hip wide. Yeah, wide, 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 wide. Push it wide. So for a lot of you, it's going to feel like it actually lifts in space. That's what I want it to do. I want it to push wide and lift slightly up so that your left thigh bone, again, is sinking into the hip socket in this position. And you're squeezing the front heel towards the back knee. Scoop in your belly. Let your pelvis move forward a little bit more, but keep pushing that right hip wide. You got it. And then arms up, hands to heart center. Good. I like arms up first so that when you come down to heart center, you're keeping your chest lifted. Prayer twist, right elbow to the outside of the left knee. Keep pushing your right inner thigh wide, pushing your right hip wide. Good. I don't mind if it restricts your ability to get deeper into the twist, because this is reality for you, is that that right side waist, that right side thigh has to open more for that twist to be real. So keep pushing it wide. Good. Restriction is not a problem. Stagnation is. Good. If you want to come to that higher prayer twisting lunge, go for it. Tuck the back toes, lift the back knee. If you're happy where you are, stay. Beautiful. Nice, Alice. Nice, Harriet. Good, Lisa P. Good, Lisa S. And then come back to center, please. Arms to the sky, wherever you are, high lunge or Anjaneyasana. Good. Release the hands down to the floor, please. Good. Step back, downward facing dog. Nice. Pedal your feet. Move your hips from side to side. Good. Come to stillness, please. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Full down dog experience. And then drop your knees to the floor, please. Good. Drop back to child's pose for a breath. Nice. And then walk yourself back up, please. Good. So we're going to take one camel pose. So coming up onto your shins. So lift your butt up off of your heels. If you have a block and you'd like to place it either between the inner thighs, so you have something to, again, ground into, hug into, you can do that. Also, sometimes it's nice to put the block between your ankles or your shins, so your shins have something to hug into. So those are two options for the block. Good. I'm going to give you the freedom to decide where you want your hands to go. So my suggestion is that if your lower back tends to be a little cranky in this position, keep your hands at your lower back, fingers pointing down towards your tail. If you are pretty confident in how your lower back usually feels and you want to bring your hands to your heart center or behind your head, those are the other two options that I would suggest. So still going to those places that the grunties exist, right? So choose either low back, hands at heart center, hands behind the head. And then you're sending that energy, again, inner thighs are pulling wide, but you're also squeezing in so those outer hips are engaged. Lift as long as you can, draw that low rib cage in, lift your hip points up, and then begin to hinge back, like you're gonna take your butt back towards your heels. Lean back. And then at the last moment, pull those ribs long up off of your hips and rotate your shoulder blades from the back, pierce the back of the heart. So your shoulder blades cradle and push the chest up, and the shoulder blades, your collarbones widen, 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 long throat. If you'd like to drop your hands back to your heels wherever you are, you can, or stay with the hand position that you've chosen. Good. Try not to push forward through the front of the pelvis. Pull up through the hip points instead. Good. Pull long through your side ribs. Nice. One more breath. And then navel to spine, come all the way up. Good. Release the block to the side. Drop your hips down to your heels, forehead to the floor. Nice. The sound of the word grunties seems just like the kind of mood that you'd be in if you keep banging your head against the same roadblock over and over, right? And it's like that, right? It's said to be a knot. So if you're chasing that knot over and over and over again, at some point you have to get out of the habit of there being a knot. Whatever thought, whatever energy is keeping you from your own self. That's what you work at dissolving. And instead of just dissolving is what can you embrace that is beyond that? It will dissolve itself. Come on back up, please. Good. So scoot forward, come onto your backs. Yeah. Bring the right ankle on top of your left thigh. Good. Lift the left shin parallel to the floor. Reach through to hold. Good. Put a little more weight onto that left side sacrum. There you go. Good. And you're pushing the thigh away into your hands. So as you're pushing the thigh away, I want you to feel like you are trying to find more of your sacrum on the floor. So your tailbone is moving down towards the floor, which means that the front of your thigh is going to move away from your pelvis. So I want you to kind of decompress that space. So you're really pulling the thigh away from the belly, and your lower spine is finding its way rooting down to the floor. Good. So in theory, that kind of tilting of your pelvis, and it's subtle, but that kind of tilting is a forward tilt. Right? So you're actually moving the front of your pelvis forward towards the front, which means you're going to feel more of the back of your pelvis because you're on the surface. Good. Take one more breath, pressing that thigh away, finding the space of your low back. Nice. And then release the hold of that thigh. Good. Cross the right leg all the way on top of the left. Separate the feet, reach for your ankles or shins. Flex the feet. Good. Again, try and find that equal weight on both sides of your sacrum so that one hip is not pulling you to one side. You got it, Mike. Good. Push your inner thighs wide, root that tail down to the floor. Good. And then slowly release, hugging the right knee in, extend your left leg down to the floor. Come into spinal twist, so right leg comes across the body over to the left. Good. And then optional here, if you would like to bend that left knee, the extended leg, and bring the heel up towards your butt, reach back for the quad stretch. You're welcome to do that. 360 degrees of your pelvis, where the legs meet up into that joint, is every muscle group has the potential to restrict what the pelvis is able to do freely. And the pelvis is able to restrict what the legs are able to do freely. But your organs of action, your legs, your senses, your ability to move in this world, an extension of that inner power, the inner energy. Whether you are effective just on a surface level in creating happiness for yourself, or you are successful on a deeper level of understanding contentment, understanding self-fulfillment, depends on how united you are with that sense of inner power. Slowly unwind, come back to center. You know, that sounds very esoteric. It's kind of true. How much do you rely on you to create in your life, and how much are you waiting for somebody else to do it, be it for you? Cross the other ankle on top. Lift the right shin parallel to the floor, so left ankle on top of right thigh. Good. And again, I want you a little bit more focused on, so holding the thigh in this variation so that you have something to push the thigh into, something to push away into. So a little bit more weight on that right side sacrum because it's going to be the side that tends to lift up. Good. And then you are, again, tilting your pelvis slightly forward. So the front of your pelvis tilts towards your legs, and you're moving your legs out away from your pelvis. Your tailbone moving towards the floor. Good. Nice, you guys. And keep pushing out through the thigh. And Keep your weight on that right side sacrum. Good. What does it take to wake up the Kundalini? Either a fierce desire to be whole with yourself, or a moment that the rug gets pulled out from under you and you have no choice but to rely on that deepest part of you, the actual power that you have. Either one works. Good. Release that thigh, cross the right leg, your left leg all the way on top of the right. Separate the feet, reach for the ankles or the shins. Again, trying to keep that equal weight on both sides of the sacrum. Good. And that subtle lift of the front edge of your pelvis, but that pressing down through your tail. So you have that wideness of your sacrum. Like you're still pushing your sit bones forward and wide. Where do you hide yourself from yourself? Maybe even just physically, where do you get stuck the most? Is it your pelvis? Is it your chest? Is it your head and neck? Unwind the legs, please. Left knee pulls in towards your chest, right leg extends out in front of you. Final twist, bring the right knee across the body, left arm goes wide. And optional to bend that right knee, the extended leg, bring the heel in. If you want to go for that quad stretch, the left arm can reach back. Good. The Kundalini rises when there is not only nothing in its way, but when there is a desire for that feeling of empowerment, that desire for there to be clarity, the desire for there to be wholeness. So that desire has to be stronger than all of the excuses that we previously thought were good enough to keep us away from it. Your Kundalini is yours. There's not a magic practice that's going to ignite it and force it to rise. The relationship you have with yourself. And being powerful is one that we often disregard because we think, who am I? How could that possibly be me? That's for real yogis. That's for real enlightened ones. You can awaken at any time you want. Slowly release the twist, please. Unwind your legs, come back to center. Starts with when your other sources of power and energy escape your control. They escape your life. What do you reach for? Good. Hug your knees in towards your chest, please. Do a little rolling forward and back, side to side. So I want to give you the option for going upside down. I was excited before I brought you onto your back. I was considering doing headstand first, but put you on your back instead. So if you would like to get up and do headstand, that is my suggestion because it's one of the inversions that is very good, it said, for getting to that space of the crown in your third eye. So if you are in a space where you can practice headstand or even headstand preparation, so maybe keeping one leg on the floor but working the preparation on your forearms, that is my suggestion. If that's not going to work and you'd like to do a different inversion, either shoulder stand, handstand, you can even put your low back on a block, take your legs up to the sky. If you don't have a block, it can just be legs and arms up to the sky. But something that gives you a sense of turn yourself upside down. So legs up, torso down. Finding it's kind of nice if you have wall space or even just a piece of furniture nearby, you can put your legs up on that furniture as though you're doing legs up the wall. That's another option. Good. Nice, Harriet. Pull those ribs in. Yeah, you got to fold from the waist, like you're pulling your pelvis and your ribs towards each other. It's going to feel like you are almost bringing your legs too far forward. Good. Nice, Sarah. Nice, Alice. Nice. Both Lisas. I have one in a froggy headstand and one in a regular headstand. Good. Nice, Crystal. Really good, Harriet. Good job, Carolina. Working hard. And I've lost sight of my last person. Can't see you. Good. Inverting is a very powerful place where you can feel what it's like to pull power, to pull energy, to pull strength from deep within you. Because when you're upside down, you have to use your core self a way different way to keep those legs up in the air. So this is like that simulation of pulling from somewhere deep inside. That's the Kundalini rising. That feeling of empowerment, that feeling of wholeness, of complete focus. Couple more breaths. Really good, Lisa P. I like that variation. Nice, Harriet. Good job, Alice. So steady. Good job, Mark. Nice falling, Sarah. Good. Slowly bring yourself down from where you are. Pausing either on your back if you are in shoulder stand, or maybe resting either hips sitting on your heels or forehead to the floor if you've been in headstand. Whichever feels better. Sometimes sitting upright is what feels best. I always do say if you're going to fall out of an inversion, to do it gracefully. That is part of inverting. Nice, you guys. And then slowly lift yourself back up. Find your way back onto your back if you are not there already. Coming into your final posture, fish pose. So you can have the knees bent here or the legs extended, whichever variation you like better. Arms alongside you. You can either be in robot arms, so the elbows bent, fingers up towards the ceiling, or you can have the arms straight. If you're having the arms straight, you again have the option to snuggle those arms closer alongside your ribs. If you're placing your hands onto your butt, you can also do that, kind of classic variation. Flex those feet, strong legs, whichever position you're in, and then begin by arching your heart up, 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 like you're doing that camel pose again. Hips go down. So pull those groins down to the floor as you lift your chest up, up, up. And then your throat opens, 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 so that the top of your head is just resting on the floor. Elbows are going to be bent, but try not to do the work with your arms. I want you to really do the work with your back. In the back of the heart, you expand. In the back of your pelvis, you get more stable. Even from the back of your head, you start to see more clearly, because guess where your brain actually visually interprets sight? The back of your head, not your eyes. Good. Last breath in, get wide. And then slowly release. Unwind your spine. Beautiful. Stretch your arms up overhead. Stretch the legs out to straight. I want you to do that kind of simulating that you are almost walking, so pressing one heel further away and then the other, moving the shoulders in the same way. So it's like you're pushing one side of the body and then the other longer. Good. And then find the place that is steady and in the middle. Let your feet drop open wide. Take your arms alongside you, palms up. Let your breath continue to go long and deep, or let it come back to going long and deep if it's been happening some other way. Maybe mentally touch in on those places: the base of the spine, the pelvis, heart center, third eye. Where do you hide yourself from you? Very gently bring the awareness back to your breath. Letting the body begin to stretch and move in whatever ways serve it well. And as you're ready, draw the knees in towards your chest. Roll to your right side. And take a moment there before you begin to push the floor away. Come back to an upright seated position. Bring the hands together in front of the heart center, palm to palm, or into whatever mudra has been serving you well. So it's said in the Bhagavad Gita and other places too that we have a right to our actions. We have a right to act in the world, but that we don't have a right to the fruits of those actions. And what happens after you have done what you feel has needed to be done is not up to you. And all that's left there is to simply accept that this is where your intentions, your efforts, your energy is. This is what it has empowered. So what happens as that energy comes back to us is that whether it is fulfilling or not has so much to do with where it's coming from. Is it coming from the habits of your mind, those knots that are in you, or is it coming from the wholeness, the power of you? So the Kundalini energy overtakes everything so that all we have is the spaciousness. All we have is the wholeness. We act from there. But sometimes our first step into accessing that energy is remembering that you always, always have the power to act. You're the only one that has the power to act. So if you maintain that there is no external source of power, metaphorical or literal, that can take that away from you, is maybe there's a chance that you'll feel a little bit more united with that concept, that there's a power in you that will carry you through the entirety of your life and beyond. But you have to reach for it, and you have to move aside whatever has habitually been in its way. So we practice to make space to feel that Kundalini energy, that spiritual energy that we are, is us on a day-to-day basis, moment-to-moment basis. So no excuses not to act in your life. No reasons not to be everything that you can be. Whatever they are, start untying them. Free yourself. Close to the sound of Om, deep breath in. Sliding the thumbs up to the space between the eyebrows. Namaste, everybody. Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your night, a great rest of your week until I see you again. I will unmute you